going down that walk all that way with the That's what I see. I've lost the steeple.
Hello, and this is, well, up on onwards here, naturally, and this is a Wisbech workshop video. Now, this is going to be an interesting one I should really do after getting the whole layouts and that sorted, but I figure why the heck not, get this done now. This is going to be about coal loads. Now, a lot of places sell simple plastic ones like these, or you get them standard with the wagon, like how this one came with this wagon. Simple as that, really. And it's a fairly snug fit on some of them. And how some people just like to fit coal. And, well, actually, now I think of it, also how some don't come off any load at all. So you make your own. Now these are actually quite easy to do after I learned how, because look at that, nice removable coal load. Interchangeable between these two wagons quite easily. And even if you get the ones with you know, plasticky, real plasticky coal loads like that, you can still make them better by adding the genuine article. Now this is a dapple wagon here, and what I did was just trim down the legs a bit and add a coal load. It's such a snug fit. I don't even need the screw that usually holds the load in. And what benefit of this is it adds weight. It adds weight to the load. Adds weight to the wagon, which saves on lead. But here's an odd case. This is a kit-made wagon that I had lying around collecting dust. It originally had a ballast load style. Can't even find a maker's mark on it, bugger. But this thing is so heavy that all I did was just give it a light dusting of coal, very light, and yeah, it looks alright. So it's good for fixing anyone else's muck-ups. And it doesn't just work for rail wagons either. Take these nice steam lorries here. Very nice, very suitable for a scenery piece. Nice one there. This one fits in quite nicely. No play, no shake, and it's easily removable. This one I was a bit clever with, because the load will only fit one way, because it will only look right one way, and I dropped it. I got it back here in my hands again. But yeah, it only fits one way, because it looks right one way. Look at that. That is beautiful, ain't it? That's beautiful. Now, I got a couple more on the layout drying off from yesterday, because that's when I first started this. And with these two wagons, I'm just going to show how I did it, but with different bases. Because for, let's say we take this nice, well, I think that's 21 ton coal wagon. It's been drying out for a while, so let's shed the load. This is a dapple one, I believe. Yeah, type of coupler says it all. And the reason I can't go full on is that lead weight there, which really ain't much weight. This will add the extra. Now you can see the residue PVA mix on it. And I kind of went with a bit of a channeled load, because that way it makes it easier to fit in, easier to take out, no bother. So I'll just get these two out of the way first. And we'll carefully just peel this one, because it's always best to have, if showcase what you're doing, it's best to have a, here's one I made earlier. So it's kind of like some of those cooking shows or craft shows on telly. Now, I'll just quickly peel this off here. Oof, man, did that stick. Right, while the rest of the glue dries, I'm going to put this on a special bit of card I have lying around to let it dry a bit better. And what it is really is just a nice big size of card near the window, because during the early morning, evening, majority of the day, the window on that side of the layout gets the most sunlight. That's why I figure it's a perfect spot for drying off wagons. Speaking of which, got another two to show, just to show a bit of variety. Now, you don't always have to use cling film when doing these, because I actually find if you use something like old plastic from bread bags, shopping bags, stuff like that, it works just the same, really. Now, we both, these wagons here are kit wagons. You can't tell because of the plastic. But if I carefully lift this one up, there you go. A nice Lancashire and Yorkshire kit set wagon. I believe this is Coppercraft. Not too sure. Not too sure. I'll put the wagon over there. And here's the load. It is really tiny, if I'm honest, because I couldn't get much depth due to these little support bits here. You can just barely see it in the camera. I think you can see the light hit one of them. But yeah, they're really tiny. They're about the same thickness as my steam lorry pieces. Now I'll quickly put this on the dry bit. Now the drying card I got by the window, when I put them on the card to dry, I'm not putting them as I pulled them out. I ain't putting them bottom down, no. I'm putting them face down. That way the moist rear of it, we'll say, to save anyone being a cheeky beggar, the moist end of it is exposed to the air, making it dry a bit better. This one is a bit of a redo, this one though, because this one already had a foam base with a coal load on it, but it looked so crummy that I had to redo it. And I actually did it with a finer grade of coal, because what it originally was real lumpy and chunky, sort of like this, but bigger. And because I know this is actually meant to be a steam locomotive coal wagon, I had to fix it up. So away with the big chunks. And if we see the wagon, it's a London and North Western Railway locomotive coal wagon. Very lovely. Very lovely. And this is, I believe, a copper... Again, no maker's mark. Son of a gun. But yeah, it's a real free-link coupler type, so that's annoying in some cases. Alright. That's that. And now you can see that what's left of the foam base here. Look at that. There's the foam base. Giving it a quick shake to get rid of any loose scatter that was on it. And yeah. Just pop it off to dry. Wrap this up, chuck it in the bin. Done deal. It's making loads ain't exactly a quick and clean process. Depending on the size of the load, it can take anywhere up to 12 hours to about 2.5 days. And the majority of my wagon loads, as you've seen, is made with cardboard. Simple cardboard you get off any box. But to show a bit of diversity, with these two wagons here, I'm just going to show two other ways you can try and make a nice base. Here we got a nice plastic card base made out of spare plastic card, which happened to be slate tile and a brick wall style. And this one, well, a nice bit of wood. Well, a nice piece, very thin pieces of wood. I'd say it's about 2.5 mil tops. Now, before even putting coal on them, got myself a marker pen here, because one thing I found out with the cardboard, if you don't give it a good enough coverage, you can see right through the load. So, just gonna darken up. Just gonna start darkening up the piece here. So that way, if I miss this, there's a hole in the coal, which annoyingly rhymes that, you won't be able to see the base is clear. This might take a while, so back in it. And with these just about done, it'll be time to get to work on the pretty much point the coal in, really. There we go. Now the reason I'm using a marker instead of painting is because this takes a heck of a lot quicker to dry. Because this is really a time-consuming process, the whole paint coal bit. So one I'll do with the traditional cling wrap style, and the other, I'll just say stuff it and go for something different. Now, annoying thing about cling wrap is once it's folded, you have a heck of a time trying to fix it. So just using these weak clamps to hold each corner, so that way it won't do that. Alright, lining it up. This one will have the plastic base. Just seated in there pretty nicely. Make sure the plastic is nice and smooth on the edges, because otherwise it'll look pretty nasty, if I'm honest. Good. And roll this slowly alongside here while I get the other one set up. Now this one is going to be a lot different, because instead of cling film, I'm just going to be using the type of plastic you get when you buy apples or fruit or veg from the local grocers, you know. Again, just pull the corners. Good. Now, I've actually got two grades of coal for doing stuff like this. I've got very fine stuff, which I have in these jars here. Whoops, have them on camera shot. In these jars here, I got very fine grade stuff, which you'll see on the back of this lorry. It's very finely grading. Anything more coarse, I would gladly go to this container here, which has the very rough stuff in it. And I'll just do a bit of both here, if I'm honest. So just, you know, get a bit of a nice fill in there. I'm bringing the larger stuff more inwards, because that way it fills in the corners, you know. It's almost the same as ballasting. You have to be careful how you sprinkle it in. And if needed, the old finger of the heavens comes in to help fill in the gaps. Just gently tap it in. Now that actually looks like a good load there, because you can vary the height and the amount of spread in a load. That there looks good. That looks good to me, really does. Now for the fun bit. Bit of water in a mini spray bottle, or those big old wash bottles, you know, the spray on it, you could use those too. But I prefer this because it's easy hand control, and yeah, it's very simple, really. Robust yet simple. Plus, as I have it down like that, the end of the line, down like this, the end of the line, still in the water, so I can spray vertical. Give it a quick coating. Give a bit of time for the liquid to get in there. Now, the autofocus is acting up on me, which is annoying, so just train it on the coal wagon there. Should be good. Now, what I have here is a nice 50-50 PVA water mix with a couple of drops of dish soap in it. Now, if you all think I'm going to use something like this to put the liquid in, or eye droplets, wrong. What I'm going to use is a simple straw. Now I'm making sure it's a nice even spread. Now the reason I'm using the straw is because you can't get that nice smooth quick flow rate which I just showed. And yeah, it looks like it's all sinking in nicely. I'll just carefully fold up the edges of this plastic. And put the wagon aside as I roll in the traditional way. Again, I'll have to retrain the camera, which annoys me a fair bit. But yeah, I'm just trying to see actually how these two different bases work, because I've never tried it before. You and I have seen it firsthand. That's the camera trained on it. Let's get to work. Now this one, I'll do a bit of a blend. Alright, that's the very rough stuff going in now. And if anyone's wondering how I crushed my coal, it's very simple and very easy. I just put the coal in the bag and crushed it with a hammer. Can't get any more simple than that. And if you can't get any coal, and I have been told this, you can use kitty litter and just paint it black. And is that a cheat's way or what? Now I'm using some of the very finer grade stuff. Gonna tap it in the corners and that. What I'm gonna use to spread it? Well, this was a rectangular piece of plastic, but I cut it in half and makes a very nice spreader. I'll just grab a bit like that. And you really don't have to work much into it, just give the side of it very light taps. And let it work in. On the other occasion you do my sifting method for getting this finer stuff out of the rest of it. Does let the odd huge chunk in. Now just giving it all a good look over with the eye. Around the back here and along here, it's not filled in as much as I'd like. So yeah, this is not easy to do freehand style, but yeah. And the annoying thing is that if I want any more of this finer stuff, it means I have to crush up more coal. Which means sooner or later that big container I have will get full. Alright, that looks like a good load because I don't want it to look similar. I don't want to look like the same. I don't want to look sort of generic. So that's a good size load, really. Alright. Give it a good spray. Right. And then comes the glue mix. Whoops, that was close, almost drank it. And you heard right, what I use to pull the stuff into the straw is I suck it, really. I suck the glue in through the straw. Up to where about where my fingertip is. Then I just let gravity do the work. Now, where the very finest stuff is, I tend to let the glue sink in a bit more. So I really thicken it up a bit in the glue department. Purely because, unlike what I did with my original batch of coal, with the stuff I made in the past few days, I did not give it what some people advise saying as wash the coal. I did not do that. I wanted to give it a nice genuine look. Washing the coal gives it too glossy a shine, as if the glue doesn't do that enough. So I wanted a bit of a dull look to it, which coal really does until you give it a good douse with a bit of water. But yeah, that looks good. And hopefully it turns into something like this, or better. Because the trouble with card is, even if you give it a good going over with water and glue, this stuff takes, you can see the wet patches there, it takes ages to dry. That's the annoying bit. It takes so long to flip and dry. Except in the case of the wagon loads here, this is actually bone dry. This is bone dry on the surface, as I'm just seeing. Because there's a bit of a bow in there, I just noticed. And I got a feeling I might have to go over it again, because I put the load in the wagon and you'll see what I mean. Alright, shift the load in. And if you see any light spots, that means it's not gone through. The coal didn't fully fill. Darn it. And here's another one. And straight away I can see at least 2 points where there's no coal. So I might have to redo that one too. Because of the very thinness of the flatbed here, I really had to think out of the box when I did this one. But it looks good. It looks good. What I do with the coal after I get it dry enough to really handle with is I grab a bit of sandpaper, give it a quick rub down. That way it slots in, like as I'll show this, it just slots in nice and smooth, no arguments. No matter how much you shake it, it won't go flying out. The only way you can get it out, upside down, tap, and there you go. That's how I like to do my coal loads. Sweet, simple, and yeah, it works. It works. And I just dropped a kit wagon, which is not good. As if they're hard enough to fix it as they are. Whoops. I think I broke it. Hell, Oh well. Bit of glue. Fix that any day. But just showing what this would look like if I gave it a cold load with this plastic base. First of all, that alone is ridiculous enough. And secondly, it just looks terrible. I mean, sure, on camera it looks okay, but from the eye's perspective, I'd be mortified. I would be mortified by it. Yeesh. But yeah, hopefully this has been a good video. Thank you all very much for watching this. This is Upward and Onward saying, see you later.